Greetings and salutations. Dave Dufort here at the Dig Agency for another case study testimonial. I've got Lori Bentley here. In her first full month with the Dig Agency, she wrote 41,943 AP, completely remote from home, all over the phone. And she is here today to talk about herself, her background, how she got into the business, and to give you guys out there who are thinking about selling final expense, or maybe already are and want the kind of results Lori's had, to give some tips and advice on how you can level up and get better results. So, Lori, thank you. How you did today?
I'm great. How are you?
Fantastic. So, give us a little background about yourself. Like, how did you get into the insurance business? What was your
Okay.
process to get here?
Well, I used to be a nurse, an RN, and I couldn't do that anymore for various reasons. And so I still wanted to do something that was meaningful and be able to really help people in a genuine way.
What kind of
And
nursing did you do?
I was an RN. I did my last bit was in the ER.
Oh, okay.
And so you see a lot in
Yeah.
the ER.
My mom, my mom was a nephrology nurse and she retired. And then my mother-in-law worked as a nursing home uh,
Okay.
shift manager. And my mom always used to say, she's like, nurses eat their young. Like she was totally,
Yeah.
like just demoted
Like, are
by
you
all of them.
alive? You're okay.
Yeah, she luckily retired both of them before COVID hit. I'm sure you went through
Okay.
that. That was
Oh
probably.
yeah, that was pretty tough. It was. I was doing dialysis at that time.
Oh,
So
really? Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Those people, they're the ones that have all the immunodeficiency issues, a lot of
yeah.
the times. You got done with nursing. So how did you end up going from nursing to insurance sales?
A friend of mine or an old supervisor of mine actually brought me in to one of the three-letter companies,
Yeah.
and it was more face to face and
Okay.
really pushed on recruiting though, and we primarily did IULs at that time.
Is that right?
Uh,
Okay.
yeah. And I actually love IULs.
Hmm.
So I was kind of concerned when I was thinking of coming to your agency that I didn't know if I was going to be able to really sell final expense because I
Right.
was worried. It's so much more. It's so different, and the cost is different, and the factors are different, and
Can you go
everything.
into that? I think that's a really
Yeah, is
interesting.
that okay?
Yeah, because I know right now, like IULs are hot. Everybody wants to
Yes.
sell IULs. Final expense is like, the old people, burial
Yeah.
insurance. There's no like appeal to it. Can you kind of just
Right.
compare and contrast? I mean, honestly, like what's good about one,
Sure.
bad about the other, same
What
final.
I love about IULs is that you can, especially for the younger generations, like I set one up for all four of my kids and my stepson and his wife. And it's very affordable of like all insurance, but you can get a chunk of insurance, like a large chunk of insurance. Sorry, my screen went off.
Oh, that's good.
And for minimal money. And then like as you get older, you can, as you're making more money in your life, you can dump that in there. If you get bonuses, you can dump that in there. And then whenever you get ready to retire, it's tax free because you're
Right.
putting post-tax dollars into it.
Sure. Right.
So you've already paid your tax. And
Right.
versus, something that is tax deferred and you go to withdraw and then you have to pay all the taxes on it. Well, who knows what the tax rate's going to be, in 20, 30, 40 years whenever you're ready to retire. I
Right.
mean, I would much rather go ahead and just pay it now and get it out of the way.
Right. Right.
Um, Now, the downside to an IUL is that you have to be healthy enough to qualify for it.
Yeah. A little different than
And
final expense. You can take everybody.
right.
Yeah.
And so, people that have, even if they're younger, have a lot of health issues, they may want it and it's a better deal because it's more affordable and you can dump more money into it here and there. They can't qualify for it. I mean, there's nothing you can do. That's when you start talking to them about whole life. And they're like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Kind of forced to at that point.
Yeah. And so, but with final expense, I was kind of hesitant because I didn't know much about it when I got into it. I knew that it was primarily for older people. I knew it was more expensive because it was whole life, but I knew it still had cash value. Um, and it was better than term because term is temporary.
Right.
Well, my second agency that I tried, I got out of that MLM because I didn't like having to mass recruit.
Right. Okay.
And that's just not me. I don't, I mean, if people are excited about what I do and genuinely want to join, I'm all for helping them come on board, but I'm not looking to recruit in that way.
Yeah, and I'll
It's
add
just,
before you go to the second, like if you're new watching this, like the thing about life insurance specifically is that probably half to two-thirds of the business and agencies out there are multi-level marketing focused agencies. And
yeah.
why is that a problem? Well, first of all, typically their leads are a source of income for them. So they're selling you beat up old leads if they sell them to you. They're not
Mhm.
high quality, as high as converting as say other types are. And then the
Yeah.
other side of it is that they're just as equally, if not more concerned about you recruiting anybody with a pulse.
Yeah.
And the concept that they follow is the Amway Herbalife model, where you're supposed to build this endless chain of downlines to get passive income from.
Yes.
And it really just works for the very top of the pyramid. But for
Yes.
people in the middle and the bottom, it just
Well, and I would say, cause see, they do well with multicultural people. Cause my ex was Asian.
okay,
And so they all have a huge community and
sure,
they all bring each other on and everything. And that's wonderful. But I personally didn't have those type of connections now.
right.
So, and what they do want you to ask all your family members, all your friends, everything. And I just don't have that resource. So,
They
I mean,
have
if you
been.
do, it could work, but it's very hard.
There have been YouTubers like Always Marco who have talked about how a lot of these MLMs will prey on like first generation Americans, people that
Mhm.
aren't aware as readily,
Yes.
and they're here because they want to be successful.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
America is the place to do it.
Yeah.
And they're kind of targeted because of that. And
Yeah.
I think there's something to it, so be careful out there, guys. I mean,
Yeah.
the insurance business is a great opportunity, but not everybody's on your side in the way you would like them.
Yeah, I was very naive when I joined them. And I mean, it was my first experience. I just kind of thought all insurance was the same,
Yeah,
carrier wise. And so even moving on to the second one after a year, I only stayed with them a few months. They were not pushing me to recruit, but I had to buy my own leads.
okay,
And they recommended the very old leads because they were affordable.
right.
And I just it sucked, honestly. I couldn't get anybody to convert. They were like, I did
Okay.
that like 4 years ago, or
Right,
things like that. I don't need that anymore. I already got all that and blah blah blah. And that one was more towards term mortgage protection type.
right, right.
Um, so that one just didn't quite work for my personal needs.
First, it
And
was like
so,
recruiting issues and the MLM culture.
right.
And then the second one was, okay, more inclined towards selling, but
Mhm.
what you were working to get the sales, in other words, the
Yeah.
leads.
I went into excessive debt with
Okay,
the leads
right,
trying to make money versus being able to actually just with you. I came in, I had to invest a little bit more in a few more licenses,
right,
but I am making money now,
right.
quite a lot of money.
Yeah, big difference, right?
Yeah.
So describe, if you would, kind of walk us through. So you get to the dig agency, comparing it to the MLM and then that kind of purchase lead strategy. Like, what are the big differences? Like top two, top three differences that you see that have been the most impactful for you?
Well, before joining you, I started watching your videos
Okay, yeah,
and you really helped educate me as far as me needing to do my due diligence.
good.
And because I really was naive. And
And that's okay,
so
by the way, just and for
yeah,
everybody else there too. Like, this is why you're watching this video. Like, even though people watch this, we sometimes make mistakes. And the key is to learn the mistake the first time you make it, right?
yeah,
Because if you can just make enough mistakes and not repeat them, eventually you'll go onto the right track, right? That's kind of how
right,
my career has been. So,
right.
don't feel too bad if you're like, dang, I should have known better.
Yeah.
Well, now you
And
do. Just
before I
remember that
signed
next.
up, I joined your school
Okay,
free thing first,
perfect.
to start learning a lot. And I even came to you and asked you your opinion because I was very nervous about making another bad decision
Right,
in this year and a half time.
right,
And you gave me your honest, non-biased feedback. And that really helped me know I could trust you and feel like your organization was very honest and forthcoming. And that's when I decided to really jump in.
Good. What did I say?
Well, I asked you, I had a sister company of yours recruiting me.
Oh yeah, yes,
Um,
yes, you're correct. Yeah,
and I was trying to make sure because I had kind of this bad gut feeling about, switching again and it not working out because
yeah,
they were just starting up kind of and everything. And you said, well, just give us, I think what, 6 months. And if you hate it, just leave.
yeah. Right.
And I was like, okay, that's very, very forthcoming and honest. And that's how I am. And I appreciated that.
Yeah, I find strategically it's just if you're just straight up with people, like that in of itself in this business, guys, is such a unique thing that even if you say something that's seemingly on the surface counter to your immediate advantage, it actually builds way more respect with people
Yes.
and it recruits more people. Like by not being so blatantly self-driven,
Yes.
it actually drives more to you. It's crazy,
Absolutely.
but I've
Yeah.
tried to practice that. I'm not perfect, but and
No, we're all human, but
yeah.
as long as we try our best.
So what, what
So
what's it been like in final expense for you? So kind of walk me
w-
through a day in the life of
okay.
with us
So
and
once
with the phone.
I learned the scripts and how to really manage my tonality and the way I just handle things and relax. Um, One thing I've really learned, Tim is great at helping us, do our best. But I've learned, make sure you're treating the client as a person, not just as a sale. Really look at them as a person. They can feel that difference, whether
Right,
you're just trying to sell them something or if you actually care.
right,
Um, and especially with the older generations, they're lonely a lot and they need somebody to feel like they care.
right, right.
And so that's important for me too. Um, and I would say one thing that I've really learned that helped that I was never doing before is if you're struggling, if you record yourself and really listen
Mm.
to that, manage to be able to learn to manage your tonality and make sure you don't sound tired or angry or, just irritable or anything like that. That's very important.
Do you have an example possibly where maybe you did that and you like had an epiphany, like, oh, I'm doing this when I should be doing that, and
Yeah,
improve?
my first week, I all the calls were being recorded initially automatically, and so we could
Right.
just go back and listen to it. And I would get to because I was so excited and pumped up. I've got ADHD, so when I really like something, I dig into it.
Good, perfect.
And but I was wearing myself out. I was burning myself at both ends, and
Sure.
so I was sounding tired and just defeated at one point because when I get a sale I'm very pumped up, but you go half a day and you're like, oh God, what am I doing wrong? But if you
Hmm.
stop and listen to what you're actually doing wrong, then you can pivot and fix it,
Right,
even if you have to just fake that smile until it works.
right, right.
And it does, it helps
Yeah.
brighten that up and the people can feel your emotions.
Yeah, and that's the thing you have to learn how to do when you're doing
Yeah.
remote sales is the only thing you have to depend on is your tonality and the
Mhm.
words that you say. So you've got to learn how to inflect in a way that maybe isn't natural in person, but is
Yeah.
definitely required over the phone
Yeah.
to make and elucidate your point.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I can't stress the biggest takeaway I think you guys out there watching this should take is like at some point watching another David DeFord video isn't going to help you be better. Like, look, I love what I do. I do it. I'm great. I think my stuff is great, right?
Yeah.
But a better way to get better is to just like listen to your stuff and apply the fundamentals you learn from me or
Yes.
whatever script and start to think for yourself. Like, is
Yes.
what I'm saying what it's supposed to be?
Right.
And you will find, and that's the thing, Lord, like it's hard enough to get people just to record themselves. Like
Yeah.
90% of people don't do it.
Yeah.
But if you just click the record button and listen and go back,
Yeah.
like all of the opportunities for improvement will just present themselves. And how you
Absolutely.
think you sound is completely different than how you actually do sound listening to it. So,
Yeah.
so kudos to you for being willing to be coachable and
Yes.
having
That's
humility.
very important. Yes.
So wrapping this up, Lori, again, thank you so much for being here. You've
Mhm.
done great getting started. Just
Thanks.
more good stuff to come for sure. What
Absolutely.
tips would you give a new or aspiring life insurance agent on what they need to be successful quickly, like you have been?
Be willing to put in the time, but make sure you have some work-life balance or you'll get burned out.
Yeah.
And be coachable. If somebody's willing to take the time to really help you succeed, they're doing that for your benefit, not theirs.
Yeah.
And that's important. So be humble, be coachable, and just work hard. Give it your all. Like be in it. Don't just stick your foot halfway in.
Yeah. Don't be half pregnant. My wife
Yeah.
hates that. Don't tell me about the labor pains. Show me the babies. He really hates that one.
Yeah. Oh,
We'll use
Lord.
another analogy, like you said. Be fully committed. There we go.
Yes, be fully committed.
Well, Lori, thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure talking with you and your
Thank you.
success early on with the Dig Agency. And guys out there watching, if you're interested in finding a home to sell, you're looking for a great culture based off of excellence, accountability, and being the best you can be, and you don't want to pay for leads, you don't want to take that financial risk, and you really want to be involved with an opportunity that's focused on selling and you being the best you can be, then that's what the Dig Agency is all about. If you want to learn more, just simply go to daviddufour.com, watch the video that's at the top. That's going to give you a rundown of how things work. And below that, you'll see dozens of case studies just like this, and maybe some FAQ videos. And then from there, you can join a Q&A call to ask us questions live about anything else that's on your mind that maybe wasn't covered. And then if all looks good from there, you can apply. We do run an application interview process. We don't take everybody. We particular about who we select because we know what's required and the personality type that works best in it. But if you think you got what it takes and you want to see, definitely go to daviddufour.com to learn more. Lori, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Have a great day.